There was once a young man who spent his entire life trying to get it right. Every step he took was carefully calculated: the school he chose, the job he worked, the people he trusted. He had notebooks filled with plans, and backup plans for his backup plans. He believed that if he just figured out the right formula, life would finally make sense. He'd be safe, secure, happy, but something was always missing. One evening, he found himself sitting alone at a small cafe, exhausted from chasing certainty. A soft jazz tune played in the background, no lyrics, no rules, just notes dancing freely through the air. Across the room, an old man tapped his fingers to the beat with a peaceful smile on his face. Curious, the young man asked, "How do you stay so calm? Don't you worry about what's coming next?" The old man chuckled and said, "Son, life isn't a math problem, it's music. You're not supposed to solve it, you're supposed to feel it. The more you try to control it, the more you miss the rhythm." That night, for the first time in years, the young man didn't go home to analyze or plan. He just listened to the music, to the moment, to the wisdom in the unknown. That's the truth we all need to hear. The wisdom of insecurity isn't about giving up, it's about letting go. It's about trusting the beat of life, even when you don't know where it's leading. Because life isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to be beautiful, and beauty lives in the unscripted, chasing control. Why certainty is a lie we've been sold. There's a story we've all been told since childhood. It goes something like this. If you work hard, stay organized, follow the rules, make the right decisions, and stick to the plan, everything will go the way it's supposed to. Life will make sense. You'll be safe. You'll be happy. It sounds comforting, doesn't it? The idea that life is a formula, and if you solve it right, you win. But here's the truth no one told you. That story is a lie. Not because effort doesn't matter. Not because planning is bad. But because certainty is an illusion, and the more we chase it, the more lost we feel. The lie of the perfect plan. We live in a society that sells control like it's salvation. From financial security to life hacks to productivity systems, we're taught to believe that if we just manage everything perfectly, we can avoid pain, discomfort, and disappointment. But life isn't an equation, it's not a straight line. It's a wild, unpredictable, often beautiful mess. And when things don't go as planned, we panic. We think something is wrong with us. We say, "I did everything right, why am I still struggling? I followed the plan, why did it still fall apart?" But you didn't fail. You just believed a myth that life can be controlled, that the goal is certainty. It's not. The truth about life, it's unscripted. Some of the greatest moments of your life, the ones that changed you, awakened you, grew you, didn't happen because you planned them. They happened because something unexpected shook you up, and something deeper inside you rose to meet the moment. Think about it. That job you lost that led to a better opportunity, that relationship that ended but taught you what real love should feel like, that season of chaos that forced you to grow, to break patterns, to wake up. Certainty didn't do that for you. Uncertainty did. It's not the comfort zones that change us, it's the unknowns, the curveballs, the risks we took without knowing the outcome. Why chasing control steals your peace. The more you try to control life, the more anxious you become. Because you're not living anymore, you're managing, micromanaging your emotions, micromanaging people, micromanaging the future. But here's the hard truth. You can't control what happens tomorrow. You can only control how present and powerful you are today. Control doesn't create peace, it creates pressure, and you weren't born to live under constant pressure. You were born to feel, to flow, to evolve. To trust that you have what it takes to handle what comes even when you don't see it coming. Real strength isn't control, it's trust. You know who's powerful, not the person who has all the answers, but the one who can walk forward without them, not the one who clings to a perfect plan, but the one who adapts, who bends, who grows. That's what life requires, not perfection, but presence, not predictability, but faith, not tight fists, but open hands. You don't have to control everything. You don't even have to understand everything. You just have to trust yourself and trust the process that's shaping you. Let go so you can finally live. Let me leave you with this. What if the thing you're trying so hard to control is the very thing that's holding you back? What if the breakthrough you want is on the other side of surrender? What if you're missing the music of life because you're too busy trying to solve it like a math problem? Here's the lesson. Certainty isn't what makes you secure. Courage does. Control isn't what gives you peace. Trust does. You don't need to know the whole story to live it fully. You just need to show up honest, open, and ready to feel. The next chapter of your life doesn't require a blueprint. It requires bravery, so breathe, let go, and live like someone who understands. The most beautiful moments aren't planned, they're lived. The freedom in flow. Learning to dance with the unknown, there's a river inside you. It doesn't move in straight lines. It twists, it turns, it rushes, it slows. It's unpredictable. It's alive. It's yours. And yet, for most of your life, you've been told to fight it. Stick to the plan. Play it safe. Follow the rules. Control the outcome. You've been taught that if you want success, if you want security, you need to master the unknown. Predict it, tame it, shape it. But what if they were wrong? What if life was never meant to be tamed? What if your greatest power isn't in controlling the unknown, but in flowing with it? You can't dance with life while standing still. Let's get real. Most people don't live, they pause. They press pause on their dreams, their passions, their purpose. Waiting until they're sure. Waiting until they feel ready. Waiting until they have more money, more time, more certainty. But life doesn't wait. The unknown is always there. You don't escape it, you either freeze or you flow. Think about dancing. You can't choreograph every step. You have to feel the beat, trust your feet, and move with what's happening in real time. That's how flow works. That's how freedom works. The myth of the right time, we've all heard it. Don't make a move until you're 100% sure. Don't take the risk until the timing is perfect. Don't speak until you know exactly what to say. That's fear talking. That's ego trying to protect you from the unknown. But here's the truth. Clarity doesn't come before the leap, it comes after. Some of the most powerful moves you'll ever make in life won't come with guarantees, they'll come with faith. Faith that the path will appear as you walk it. Faith that your intuition is wiser than your fear. Faith that failure isn't fatal, it's feedback. There's no such thing as the right time. There's only now, and the people who learn to move in now, they're the ones who rise. Flow isn't weak, it's warrior work. Don't mistake surrender for weakness. To flow with life doesn't mean you drift aimlessly. It means you show up every day, heart open, eyes clear, feet moving even when the outcome isn't certain. It takes courage to live like that, to release the illusion of control. To accept that you won't always know where the current is taking you, but you trust that it's taking you somewhere necessary. You become less obsessed with answers and more committed to action. You stop resisting life. And you begin to partner with it, and let me tell you, that's when things shift. That's when the right people, the right timing, the right doors start appearing, not because you forced it, but because you flowed into alignment with it. The magic happens when you let go. Think about every breakthrough you've ever had. It probably didn't happen when you were forcing things. It happened when you let go. When you stopped chasing and started trusting. That's the paradox of life. You don't find control by gripping tighter, you find it by releasing what was never yours to hold. You can't control the storm, but you can surf the wave. You can't predict the music, but you can learn to dance with it. That's freedom. That's flow. That's power. Learn to move with the music, not against it. So here's the lesson, maybe the one your soul's been waiting to hear. Stop standing on the sidelines of your own life. Stop waiting for perfect conditions before you move. Stop resisting the unknown like it's your enemy and start flowing with it like it's your teacher. Because it is. Every detour, every delay, every door that closed was guiding you. Not punishing you, preparing you. You were never meant to live a controlled life. You were meant to live a creative one, a curious one, a bold one. So stop trying to solve life like a problem. Start dancing with it like a partner. Freedom isn't found in knowing everything. It's found in trusting yourself when you know nothing. That's the power of flow. That's the freedom of the unknown. And that's where your next breakthrough begins. Perfection is a prison. Embrace the messy melody. There's a silent pressure crushing millions of lives, and it hides in plain sight. It tells you, be flawless, don't mess up. If it's not perfect, it's not good enough. Sound familiar? We're living in a world obsessed with perfection, airbrushed photos, filtered lives, curated careers, and highlight reels pretending to be reality. And slowly, silently, people are suffocating under the weight of trying to live up to something unreal. But here's the truth, the raw, healing truth. Perfection is a prison, and most people don't even realize they're locked inside it. The high cost of perfectionism. You know what perfection really is? Fear dressed up in fancy clothes. It's fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. It stops you from starting that business, from writing that book, from speaking up, from showing up unless you're 100% sure it'll be perfect. And that's the trap. You never feel ready, so you never begin. You wait, you polish, you postpone, you prepare. Forever. Meanwhile, life is passing you by. The song of your life is playing, but you're too afraid to dance because you're worried you might miss a step. But guess what? The best dancers miss steps. The best musicians hit wrong notes. The best lives are messy, not perfect. Life isn't a script, it's a song. Perfection wants you to treat life like a script. Memorized, predictable, clean, but life is more like jazz, unscripted, soulful, raw. It's not about hitting every note right. It's about how you show up, how you feel it, how you improvise, how you recover when it breaks down. Think of your favorite song. What makes it beautiful isn't that every note is flawless, it's the emotion, the build, the tension, the imperfection that makes it real. It's time to stop waiting for a perfect performance and start living the messy melody that's already playing. Your flaws are part of your power. You know what people actually connect to. Your realness, your scars, your story, your struggles, not the filtered version, the true version. We don't bond over perfection. We bond over pain, over laughter, over learning, and the more you hide behind perfect, the more alone you feel, because perfection isolates you, but vulnerability connects you. Your power isn't in being flawless. Your power is in being honest, authentic, human. That's what makes people listen. That's what makes people trust. That's what makes you unstoppable. Let it be messy. That's where the magic lives. Think about a messy kitchen after a family dinner, or a painting with wild brushstrokes, or a child's laughter echoing through a chaotic room. That's where life is most alive, in the mess, in the noise, in the realness. We're not meant to be polished statues. We're meant to be wild, growing, imperfect stories. And when you let go of the need to be perfect, you finally make room for something deeper. Joy, creativity, courage, peace. That's what happens when you stop performing and start participating. You stop being afraid to fail and you start being willing to try. Progress over perfection. Always let me leave you with this truth, one that can shift your whole life if you let it. Done is better than perfect. Real is better than impressive. Messy is better than missing your life trying to make it flawless. Stop waiting until it's ready. Stop thinking your worth depends on your performance. Stop measuring yourself by someone else's standards. Your life is not a test, it's a tune. It's not about hitting every note, it's about showing up and singing your soul out. Perfection won't set you free, but courage will. So throw away the script. Break out of the cage and embrace the melody, raw, wild, messy, and yours. That's not failure, that's freedom, that's not sloppy, that's spirit, and that right there is the song only you can sing. Anxiety vs. aliveness. How letting go brings you back to life. There's a moment quiet but heavy when you're lying in bed, and everything around you is still. But your mind isn't, it's racing, spinning, replaying conversations, questioning decisions. What if this happens? What if that doesn't work out? What if I'm not enough? That's anxiety, the invisible weight, the tightness in your chest, the exhaustion of trying to hold your life together by gripping it so tight. And yet for many of us, we think that's normal. We confuse it with being responsible. We call it planning. We say, I'm just trying to be prepared. But friend, here's the truth. Anxiety is not the price of being a grown-up. It's not a badge of honor. It's a warning sign. It's your soul whispering, this isn't how you were meant to live. The addiction to control is draining your life. We live in a world that worships control. We plan every minute, micromanage our careers, relationships, and futures, all to avoid uncertainty. But here's the problem. Life doesn't fit in a spreadsheet. It moves, it changes, it surprises, and the more you try to control everything, the less alive you feel. Why? Because when you're obsessed with outcomes, you forget how to experience the present. You're too busy preparing for what might go wrong to notice what's going right. You stop living and start surviving. That's what anxiety does. It robs you of joy. It paralyzes your passions. It replaces your intuition with fear. But there's another way, a better way. Aliveness begins where control ends. Have you ever had a moment when you just let go? Maybe it was dancing in your kitchen. Maybe it was laughing so hard with a friend you forgot your to-do list. Maybe it was a spontaneous road trip or a sunset that stopped you mid-scroll. That feeling, that electricity, that's aliveness. That's who you are beneath the anxiety. Because deep inside you, there's a soul that doesn't want to be managed. It wants to be moved. It wants to feel, to risk, to trust, to breathe. Aliveness happens when you surrender the need to know what's next. When you stop bracing for disaster and start believing in the beauty of right now. Letting go isn't giving up, it's rising up. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop controlling. It means you trade fear for faith, panic for peace, tightness for trust. You stop trying to bend life to your will, and you start partnering with it. You begin to say, I may not know what's coming, but I know who I am. I may not have all the answers, but I have what it takes. I can face the unknown and still choose joy. That's not weakness, that's power. That's not reckless, that's real. Aliveness requires risk, but it's worth it. You can't feel fully alive while playing it safe 24/7. You can't feel joy without risk. You can't experience love without vulnerability. You can't chase your calling while gripping fear like a life raft. At some point, you have to leap. You have to say, I refuse to live the rest of my life afraid of what ifs. I want wonder more than I want control. Because here's the secret. Aliveness isn't found in perfect plans. It's found in brave steps. When you release the pressure to be perfect, you make space for progress. When you stop obsessing over the future, you rediscover the fire of the present. Let go and come back to life. Let me leave you with this. Anxiety is loud, but it's not your truth. It's a signal, not a sentence. It's telling you something needs to shift. And that shift isn't about doing more, it's about letting go. Let go of the need to fix everything. Let go of the guilt, the fear, the pressure to have it all figured out. Come back to your breath. Come back to your heart. Come back to the life that's waiting for you beneath the noise. Because you weren't created to merely exist. You were created to live freely, fully, wildly, beautifully. And that begins the moment you stop holding your breath and start trusting the rhythm of life again. Trust the music. Faith is greater than the formula. There's a reason music moves us. It doesn't follow a strict formula. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't apologize for being unpredictable. It flows. It rises, it breaks, then builds again. And yet it speaks to something deep in our souls, something that formulas can't reach. That's because music, unlike math, is based on feeling, not facts, on trust, not control, on faith, not certainty. And friend, that's the same truth about life. Life isn't a formula to master, it's a melody to trust. The world trained you to seek the formula from the time we were kids. We were taught, follow the steps, do what you're told, stick to the plan and everything will turn out fine. We believed that success was a checklist, that love had rules, that faith was a routine, that life was something to solve, not savor. But how many times have you followed the formula and still felt empty? You checked all the boxes, you played it safe. You did everything right, and yet something was missing. Joy, passion, presence, purpose. That's the cost of living by formula. It gives you predictability, but it robs you of possibility. Faith isn't a backup plan, it's the real foundation. Faith isn't about religion. It's about trusting what you cannot yet see. It's what keeps you going when the path disappears. It's what gives you the courage to leap before you know where you'll land. It's what whispers, there's more, when life says, this is it. People often say, I just need to know how it's going to work out. But life rarely gives you the how in advance. Instead, it gives you the nudge, the pull, the inner whisper. That's the music. And when you trust it, even when the steps don't make sense, something beautiful begins to unfold. Not perfect, not painless, but real. Music doesn't need to make sense to be beautiful. Have you ever heard a song that made you cry and you didn't even know why? That's the power of what can't be explained. That's the faith-filled life. It doesn't always make sense on paper, but it speaks to your soul. When you trust the music of life, you stop obsessing over controlling the rhythm. You learn to flow, to improvise, to adjust, to rise when the beat changes. You stop fearing the unknown because you believe the composer knows what he's doing. Let go of the math, listen for the music. You don't need a formula to know who you are. You don't need a perfect 5-year plan to move forward. You don't need certainty to step into your calling. What you need is faith. Faith that your detours weren't mistakes. Faith that your delays weren't punishments. Faith that your story is still being written and it's far from over. Formulas demand proof. Faith says, I'll move anyway. Formulas ask, what's the guarantee? Faith says, even if I fail, I'll grow. That's power. That's courage. That's freedom. Life rewards those who trust the song. Here's the lesson. You don't need to have it all figured out. You need to be willing to dance, even when the music changes. You need to stop gripping so tight to your plan that you miss the opportunity right in front of you. You need to remember that your life's greatest moments won't be calculated, they'll be felt. So stop asking for a map. Start listening for the melody. It's already playing inside you. Let the music of life carry you. Let it surprise you, let it stretch you, let it change you, because life is not a problem to solve. It's a song to sing, a rhythm to move with, a divine melody that you were meant to trust even when you can't predict the next note. So take the step, say yes, leap without the guarantee, and trust that even if you miss a beat, you're still in the music, you're still becoming, you're still right on time.